All right, we are watching Jumoke, who's playing Kiriko and Zen on Midtown. This is Gold 5. It's also a requested review. This is what they said. Hello, I'm fairly new to the game. I'm just learning the characters. I'm currently Gold 5 in support. That's really impressive. You just started playing. I'm not sure if I've been carried to that rank or if I deserve it. Anyway, I'd love some feedback on what I did right and what I did wrong from this game. Maybe some things I can improve and focus on while playing these heroes. Cool. So let's just look at the lineup here. You have two supports. You're playing Kiriko, which is great. Or versatile Kiriko. You pretty much never need to switch off Kiriko, honestly, unless you want to like individually figure out a way to carry differently. There's a Mercy who's really good at blocking the DPS, so I wouldn't worry too much about your Hanzo and Junkrat here. And then you have Sigma, who's not a high demand healing tank, right? He's a pretty self-sufficient, independent tank. He's got his own sustain, shield, etc. And he plays at range. So in this situation, I'm probably mostly sticking with the Sigma, having the Mercy take a DPS. I would not be afraid to swift step to the DPS though, because my Sigma is basically never gonna die if I leave him for a few seconds, unless he makes a huge mistake. All right, game starts. Playing up here, I mean, nothing's really happening. Just be regular. I think pre-healing here is the right call. Okay, so you take that shot, right? You recognize, okay, the Sojourn's here. What do you do? So I think in this situation, you shoot, right? This is like kind of a rare situation because I pretty much always tell Kiriko's typically shoot too much and heal too little. But like your Sigma's full health here, you know, he's got all his resources. He's being pocketed by the Mercy as well, which is a mistake by your Mercy. And then you have the Sojourn here who's an off angle. I mean, ideally in voice chat, you say, hey, look, there's a Sojourn in the window because this is also a really easy opportunity for the Sigma to force the Sojourn out. But I think also I was like, wait, where's the rest of your team? Your Hanzo's playing super far back, as is your Junkrat. So I think in this situation, you're caught in the open. Start attacking the Sojourn. There's realistically no way you could die here until the Sojourn charges her railgun, right? Once she drops you to like 140, 120-ish, then you're like, okay, I cannot take this fight anymore, and then you swift step out, you Suzu, whatever you need to do. But at least for now, I take my chances, especially because I feel good about my aim on Kiriko. Like, I definitely would feel like if you give me 10 shots, there's a pretty good chance. In 10 shots, I can almost guarantee that I would headshot her. So... But here, I think you probably get at least 5 shots before you're in serious danger. So I would just attack the Sojourn here. Okay, so let's kind of play that back slowly. Okay. So there's a Sojourn. Okay, you see the orb coming, which means you should not walk backwards, right? Your options are either walk forwards a little bit, right, depending on where it lands, or walk to the right to cover if you just want to give up this fight, right? The safest thing to do is walk to cover, for sure, right? I think that should probably be the general advice I would give people who are comfortable with their mechanics. I personally would be like, there's no way the Sojourn's going to kill me, and I might kill the Sojourn, so I would take this fight for sure. But I mean, if you're like, hey, look, I don't know if you're comfortable with this, just take cover here, right? And then you keep healing your Sigma, and you're totally safe from the Sojourn. But what do you end up doing here? You back up into the orb, okay? You back up into the orb, and now you're taking damage from it. And now you're like, oh, shoot. And then you're like, okay, I'm taking damage. And now you just run in a straight line, not even to cover. This is not real cover, right? This tree is so thin. So I want you to see it from the Sojourn perspective to show how easy it is to get hit by this. Right, she's up at the window. Right, she fires the orb. And then watch you, okay? Running, straight line, 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 stuck in the corner, stuck in the corner, stuck in the corner. Okay. This Sojourn is bad. I mean, this is what happens when you play in Gold 5, right? But at higher levels, that is very possible that you'd be dead or nearly dead in that situation. All you did was run in a straight line over here. This is not dodging, right? This is just like, oh, hey, look at me, I'm a robot. Like, you know, in the training range where the robots just run in straight lines, that's what you were here. Like, oh, I'm just running over here. I hope you don't hit me. Okay, I'm stuck in the corner for a little bit. Okay, let me back out of the corner. This is not the way you dodge in any shooter, okay? If I'm fighting the Soldier here, I'm like AD strafing, like this, right? Back and forth, trying to take a fight. Or I'm just like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna run here right away. But like that extended run gets you killed at higher difficulties, right? Or just different situations, for sure. You get slept here. I don't think there's much you can do about that. I would get ready to Suzu right away after you get slept, okay? I see that your aim is like, you're like, hey, you're looking here, you get Suzu'd, And then you get up, you're like, okay, cool. Instead, if I got Suzu'd, I'd get ready. The moment that the sleep expires, I would turn down and I would immediately Suzu myself. Why? Because I'm a super easy target for everyone to kill. Okay? So it is quite lucky that you did not die here, because if the soldier helix rocket, you're going to die. So I think Suzuing there instinctively is the correct call, because, again, I think you die at higher difficulties for sure. Higher ranks. Okay, so you see the... Right? So you get hit by this, so you should Suzu right away to cleanse you and the Junkrat. Instead, you wait a really long time, and you throw the Suzu too far forward, so you don't get it, so now you're super low. Additionally, you see that your Junkrat's now low, okay? And you're not healing him. I don't even know why you're not healing. Like, you know the Junkrat's there. Like, you literally just Suzu'd him. You saw that he's critical. It's, like, crazy to me that you did not immediately start healing the Junkrat. Like, let's just play this from third-person perspective. Okay, you get slept, right? I would get up and Suzu right away right now. Okay, Suzu. Okay. Junkrat's still here low. Junkrat's still here low. Junkrat's still here low. Junkrat's still here low. You still haven't healed him. You still haven't healed Junkrat, and he dies. That's why DPS find support's really frustrating. You know, the Junkrat's playing right next to you. He was actually in front of you when you saw. It's not like he was full health, walked behind you, took some damage, and then got low, right? And then maybe you miss it. He was in front of you the whole time, critical, and you just never registered what was going on there. Okay, so we covered that. Again, you're not really doing anything of value right now because you're not pre-healing the Sigma and you're not attacking the Sigma, so like you're just kind of staring there for a while, right? Like just let's like watch this. Which, by the way, you could be healing your Junkrat, but we remember that. Okay, you Suzu. Don't do anything. 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 Okay, now I'm gonna shoot the shield. Shooting shield as Kiriko is useless. So your kunais do 40 damage a hit. Unless they headshot, which is 120. You can't headshot shields. Sigma shield has 700 health. Okay, so you're going to need to shoot, you know, what is it, like 16 plus kunais? It's hard to do math. 18 kunais to break the shield. It's like almost never worth it unless the shield is about to break. Right? The most important thing is just change your angle, right, and survive. This is a really dangerous spot to be standing, but I don't think you realize that. So as Sigma, he can bounce orbs behind, and they will bounce back and forth, and they will 100% hit you. Okay? All the Sigma needs to do is just change his angle slightly, and you're guaranteed to get hit by this. So, if I were here, right, I would climb up. Like, if I had to get out of this... First of all, you have many Swift Step options. I think you have many... Yeah, I would just Swift Step back to my team, because, like, what the heck is this Sigma doing here? That's number one. I would just Swift Step to the... There's no point in you being here, okay? If the Sigma goes to point, you can't stop him anyway. So just go to your team and support your team. Okay, if they see 9, it's not your fault. There's nothing you can do to stop this. Okay, but let's say you didn't have Swift Step on cooldown. I would climb this bus stop right here, and then play here, right? And then try to shift to a different position. Because it's much harder for him to hit you when you're in the air like that than it is when you're on the ground. He can bounce him to hit you. So your kunai aim is totally off. Okay, so one important thing is when you aim at head level. Right, at whatever the opposing hero is, right? So you want to aim at head level right there, and then you go left and right, and that's all you do for aiming for kunais, right? And this applies to Zenyatta too, by the way, and then many other heroes, projectile heroes. So in this situation, right, you only want to miss left or right, never up or down. Okay, that's like a fundamental like FPS skill, is to be able to, like, you know, if you open MS Paint, can you draw a straight line left to right? Okay. Like you just, you know, do a black paintbrush, can you draw a straight line left to right? If it wiggles up and down, it means you don't have good control over your aim, right? Which is a skill and takes a lot of experience to get good at that. Okay, I'm by no means perfect at it, but I'm like reasonably good at it to the point that I would feel pretty good. First of all, I would just never miss the Sigma kunai. At this distance, Sigma's a giant hitbox. Like, it's a huge rectangle on your screen. I would just not miss him, period. But when I am hitting him, I would say probably at least a third of my shots at this distance are going to be headshots. At least a third, up to about 50%. Okay? But if we watch you right here, right? So these are the shields, so we're working on those, right? That one's into the bus stop, and this one's into the bus stop. And either the bus stop wasn't there, the first one, no chance that would have hit, okay? So you're clearly spamming because you get nervous, like spamming jump. This kunai did not have a prayer of landing. You know what I mean? Like, there's no chance this kunai could ever have hit this Sigma. You jumped and threw it over his head and to the right. So as a general rule, don't attack when it's not going to hit them. It seems kind of obvious, but I see people do this all the time. I see people see an enemy and they just shoot into the wall next to them, and it's like there's zero chance that you have to hit them. It's okay if you're aiming at them generally, and like they dodge and you miss it, but just shooting this like is never gonna work, and it's just wasting your kunais. So that shot, maybe. I mean, but again, there's the bus stop is in your way, so you never should have shot it. But like at least the aim is generally on target. So you fire 2 more shots into the bus stop. So let's just track right here and think about how many kunais you have wasted at this point in time. So you started with 13. Alright. So you shot 3 into the barrier. So that's 3 wasted right there. That one has no prayer. That's 4. 5 into the bus stop. 6 into the bus stop. 7 into the bus stop. I mean, at this point, I wonder if you even know that this is glass. Like, do you think it's breakable, or do you not realize the glass is there because you just tunnel vision? I can't explain the number of kunais that you've thrown into this bus stop. All right, finally, you're attacking. You saw how your first kunai was way too low. It was like roughly waist height, way too low. But you wasted like what, 7 kunais at this point? All right, again, way too low. Good dodge on the rock. You're kind of juking him right now, but the thing is, like, this might feel good. You're like, oh, like the Sigma's wasting my time. But the thing is, you're not helping your team, right? It's like, yeah, the Sigma's wasting his time, but the thing is, if you leave, the Sigma is also wasting his time. You know what I mean? Like, you could both be adding value to your team and wasting the Sigma's time by simply not being here. You trying to, like, do this ring around the rosy is a huge mistake. Wasting more time. Again, you could switch stuff out of this fight at any moment in time to your team. Your tank has died right now, which I'm sure you could have saved if you were there. The Sigma is slowly killing you because you have no idea what to do with the situation. Right. Yeah, for the record, that juking would not have worked on a better player. They would have killed you. They could just bounce the orbs off things around and kill you. Okay, so. Right, after Sigma dies, sure, whatever. Who cares? So, going right here. Alright, Sigma's taking some damage, you're healing. The Sigma's grasped though, so remember when he's grasping, he absorbs our projectiles, which makes him almost impossible to kill. I immediately see the Mercy taking damage. You have 2 options here, okay? You see how quickly she's getting burned down from full. I either 1, have to throw Suzu here right away, or 2, swift step and then throw Suzu if you don't feel comfortable with this. This is like a tough angle to throw it, right? Or you could edge to the right and then throw it. But either way, you must do something within the next, literally within a second, or she will die, right? Which is exactly what happens here, right? Again, you don't register this all. This healing is never going to work because healing has a travel time to get to the Mercy. So she was never going to live there with the heal. You had to throw Suzu. You switch step and Suzu off cooldown. There's no reason for the Mercy to die there. Okay, so what do you see that triggers this Suzu? Your Sigma's at full health. Okay, no abilities have been used. He's not slept. He's not he's not antied. Right? Nothing going on here. Why do you throw Suzu here? Right? He's like, oh, missing 100 health. So what? It's no big deal. Like, he has cover here too if he needs to get to it. Like, there's no reason to be Suzuing here. In fact, your Sigma is so high up, like it's safe, that I would actually probably be throwing kunais because there's like no way the Sigma can die in this situation. So I would not play this angle, right? Because if they walk into the left, it puts you in trouble, okay? Yeah, you can get out easily with swift step, but then if I see that you're swift stepping, right? If I'm Sigma, I walk over here, I shoot at you, right? I see you swift stepping, I immediately take a rock and throw it over here and I hit you, right? Because guaranteed, 95% of Kirikos are going to swift step to the closest target right here. They're not going to have a target over here, or they're not going to register that in time. And so I'm going to hit you with the rock and probably kill you. This is a very bad angle to take. There's no reason to be this aggressive, right? Like, why are you playing up this far? Imagine drawing a line across the battlefield, right, between your tank and the enemy tank in this situation. Don't cross that line. And you are very clearly crossing that line. Okay, so you hear Sojourn ulti behind you, and you literally don't register at all. Like you're like, Like the moment I do that, I look and be like, "What the heck is going on?" At higher ranks, I probably just Suzu right away because of how close I hear it. I know she's right on top of me, right? So she misses this shot, which is incredibly lucky, right? Then you're like, "Oh, okay, I guess there's something going on." I think attacking here is potentially the right call. I think the issue here is you have to figure out who she's focusing. If she's not focusing on you, she's focusing on somebody else. So the question is, can you kill her faster than she kills your teammate? At your level, I would say no, all right? Which is easier, killing her with 2 headshots or throwing a Suzu at like, Junkrat, right? One of these requires really good aim, and one of these does not. So I think that you just track who she's trying to kill there, right? In that case, you're Junkrat, and then just Suzu him. Okay, running in a straight line backwards is how you get killed. So watch. You see why that shot's really easy? Okay, watch, right? All you're doing is running straight backwards. Even if you're zigzagging in here, that can make it harder for her to hit, right? Running a straight line like that, that's how you get killed. And now you're super low, and instead of healing your teammates, saving your Sigma, you're trying to kill this Sigma. For the record, from the back, there's basically no hitbox, right? Like it's virtually impossible to hit his head. So you have to kill him with a 40 damage attack. This is gonna take you all freaking day. The Sigma could literally stand still here, and you would need 10 kunais to kill the Sigma, assuming he doesn't get healed. There's 0 chance you kill the Sigma in this situation. Instead, why don't you try to save your Sigma? Right? Like when this is happening, again, heal your Sigma. You see how low? He's critical. Like throw the Suzu right now. I'm probably gonna watch up to the first Kitsune rush and then swap over. Okay, so for starters, Kitsune rush is blocked by the cart. It's actually kind of unusual. I think a lot of other abilities would go under the cart in the situation. Kitsune is blocked by the cart, so you want to send it to the left or the right of the cart to give back some distance. In this scenario, I would probably send it to the left, just because I don't think my Junkrat is realistically going to use it. But I think my Sigma would. I think right would still be okay here. I think either side's okay. Just sending the cart is a mistake. You only got about half the distance of the Kitsune. It would actually go out to about here, right? If you use the whole distance. So that's problem number 1. Number 2. I guess you got all 5 here, I think. Right? Yeah, you got all 5. So I guess this is a reasonable timing for Kitsune. Preferably, you would have done this before you lost first point, but you didn't have an opportunity because you were dead. Right. Healing. So one thing I'll note here is that you're clearly worried that your Sigma is going to walk forward. And so you're kind of getting close here so that you can swing with him on the corner, which I would say is generally good advice, except situationally, I know my Sigma's not going to go around the corner. Why? This is their spawn, you know? Like, this is a small choke. Like, the Sigma might try to go around the corner, but I guarantee you he's not going to make it. So I might as well play further back here, right, and heal, versus trying to get closer and closer to the choke, which is what you're doing, right? You're inching closer and closer. See how close you are right now? You're like on top of the Sigma, right? He could hit you. If he hits you with both of his orbs right now while nanoed, you're just dead, right? It's going to do 240 damage. You're just going to die. Yeah. Is that true? Is it plus 100%? Plus 50%. I should know this off the top of my head. Anyway, you're going to be dead or nearly dead. So it is a mistake to be playing this close, right? You throw Suzu here, which I think is reasonable. I mean, not really, because your Sigma's actually not that low. I think you save Suzu here, right? Now he does that, they get lifted. Okay, so key thing for Flux. What do you do in Flux? Number 1 thing is a Flux does 50 damage plus half of their maximum health. So for 200 hit the hero, it does 150 damage. So the most important thing is to make sure nobody gets one-shotted by Flux. Flux alone cannot do it. They must take some damage, but if they're already injured, they are killable. So in this scenario, look at your Mercy, right? So your Mercy is at 121, so she's not going to die here unless she takes 21 damage. But I want to make sure that, because usually what Sigmas do is they flux people, and then they go over, and then they hit them with orbs to make sure that they die. So I want to heal my Mercy here. Conversely, what she should be doing is healing you to make sure you don't die. After I pop 1 heal into the Mercy, then I start healing everybody else. You do none of the things. 0 of the things. All you do is you just float in the air, like, oh, okay, I just take a break up here. And your whole team's going to wipe because of this. So, I wouldn't bother. I mean, I was trying to say like you should be looking for a Swiss set target, but like everyone's kind of dead. Okay, I'm just gonna skip forward to the point where you play Zed.
Ready. Let's get back.
Okay, so one of the things I will know about Zen right away. First of all, Zen's not picked that often these days because most people don't think he's that strong, which doesn't mean anything for your rank. You could play anything in gold for sure, or I would say even diamond, platinum, whatever. Probably even masters. You could play whatever the heck you want, as long as you're good at it. So Zen is weirdly enough not a traditional support hero. Okay, for Zen, you really need to do damage and get kills. If you're not doing damage and getting kills, you're throwing. Discord, very, very helpful. Definitely have Discord on the right targets, but Discord alone will not be enough. So what I tell people who ask me about Zen, like, oh, what should my stats should be? Your stats should be at minimum no less than half of what your DPS are doing for damage. Now, granted, if you start halfway through the game, it gets complicated, right? But like, imagine you play Zen the whole game. I would say you have to get at least half as much damage as your DPS, or else you're straight throwing. That is not a good number, to be clear. That is like, okay, we have a Zed. Like that's probably like the 45 to 48% win threshold if you're doing half damage. Okay. Now, for the record, this also eliminates low DPS heroes like Widow and Tracer who don't do very much damage, right? Traditional like Soldier, Cassidy, Soldier, and Ashe, all right? Those are all kind of like benchmark for damage. You should be doing at minimum half of the damage that they do. Okay. Once you hit 75% of their damage, you're probably doing good. That's probably like the 50%-ish threshold of like winning games. If you're doing about 3/4 damage, 50, maybe even up to like 52. Once you're doing as much damage as them, you're doing very well. I would say you're probably doing 52 to 55%. Again, this only applies to larger like whole game sample sizes. Like if you go out for the first 2 minutes and your both DPS get picked right away, and then you do some damage and die, and you're like, oh, I've doubled their damage. That doesn't count, right? We're saying for the whole game, on a standard game. I'm trying to give you a benchmark for how much damage you need to be doing. That is a lot of damage, to be clear. A lot of damage. All right? You need to be doing thousands of damage per minute in order to get anywhere. All right, so just go right here. You're just running in a straight line again. All right, just look right out. Like the soldier's aiming at you, and you just run in a straight line, and the soldier somehow misses you, which is crazy. But all right, so far I think you have missed all 8 of your orbs. And you see all these shots that you're just putting into the ceiling. All right, so I think you're 0 for 13 right now. Maybe you get 1 hit there, right? So now you're like 1 for 17. Okay, good, right? I would also add in the kick there because it disrupts and knocks them further away from the team. All right, so you can land hits when they're close, right? Again, those kills don't matter though because the team's already in reset mode. Alright, remember what I said about the invisible line between you and your tank and the enemy tanks? Well, you have no tank here. They have no tank here. What the heck are you doing this far forward? I have no idea what you think is going to happen here other than the fact that you're about to get melted. Fortunately, the soldier cannot aim, but the soldier's going to kill you. Like, what did you accomplish there? Like, let's go back and let's think through the last, like, 5 seconds. Alright. Sigma's dead. Great, right? We traded Sigmas, or we have a reason now. Okay, cool. Miss, hit, hit. So you fired 20 shots, you hit 2, and you died. Like, nothing of value happened here with your life. Like, you just traded your life away from, like, you might as well have been a bot. I honestly think I could have killed you with a melee faster than you could have killed that soldier. Or soldier in first. You know, there's no reason to be playing this far forward, first, and second, your aim was, quite frankly, atrocious for gold. Like, I cannot imagine, like, you can't miss that many shots. You should have been playing way back here, right? Or here, especially knowing there's visor, right? Wait for your tank to come up. You're not a tank, right? Don't frontline like that. Okay. I wonder if this is actually pulled up on the console. But... So, I don't know if it's worth going into your aim more, but you can see there's like tons of aim issues here, right? Like, you get that headshot, which honestly feels more like luck than anything else, right? And after that, your shots are just wild. Like, yes, you kill her, but her aim is also horrendous, so you get quite lucky here. But once again, it's like, what are you even doing here? Like, what is your job as Zen? What do you think your job is? You think your job is to run forward and contest this soldier in 1-on-1? You think, oh, okay, like, is this the best possible thing that you could be doing, right? Do you look at this fight and you think, I have a better than 50% chance of winning this fight? Because I would be surprised if you believe that. It feels like you're just autopiloting it. Like, you're literally just holding, like, W. You're constantly getting closer and closer and closer, probably because you can't hit if you're farther away, to walk into that soldier's face. Again, a better soldier would have killed you and taken almost no damage. There's no way, like, that you were favored in that fight, for sure. Okay, so, once again, Soldier has popped ulti, you're just not reacting to it. By the way, you should keep Harmony Orb on your other support, right? Unless somebody else needs it, I would keep Harmony Orb by default on the other support. That way she doesn't take too much damage, chip damage, right? You do lots of shooting, lots of missing here, which is pretty painful to watch. You don't react at all to the Surgeon ulti, you miss all the shots here. And then you just die. Again, like, you're just mindlessly walking. Like, you're not literally not doing. If you were not in this game at all, I don't think it would change the outcome of these last few fights, because you're just mindlessly walking forwards and dying. Okay. So, this is a great opportunity. I just realized you don't charge right clicks as Zen ever, where you should be charging right clicks all the time, right? So right here, walking forwards, starting right around here, I would be charging right click. Right? Because then I have 5 shots that I can one-tap somebody with, right? If I get an opportunity, or at least do some damage, okay? Right here, I charge right-click again, because I know that there's 2 people behind the cart. I know there's fighting going on. I want to turn this corner and instantly kill one of them. But instead, you just walk up here, and then you start fighting. But, like, imagine if you had 5 shots charged right now. This Ana might be dead right away. Again, when people get up in your face like that, kick to knock them back to make it easier to throw a shot. It also does. It's like 45 damage or something significant. It's more damage than the regular melee. Okay, we'll watch your first trance. Okay, so I see some critical thinking's going on here. You're like, should I push up here? Probably not, because you've just thrown away your last, what, 3 lives, 4 lives? Doing absolutely nothing. Like, if that happens to your Cassie, like, there's nothing you can do about it, right? If he goes forward and he gets extended like that, like, he's a fool. There's nothing you can do about it. Right? But, I mean, you could attack right then, but beyond that, there's nothing you can do about it. Alright, so you lose Tire. Soldier drops on top of you. It is the right call to prioritize the Sojourn. You get some hits, and then you get killed by the Sigma. Because, again, you are so forward. I mean, to be fair, I don't think you recognize that they're on high ground. And maybe you should have, based on the sound. It's hard because my sound's turned down for the video, but I think I probably would have heard that they were up there and then play differently, especially damage boosted Sojourn. I don't want to play with that, right? I would be playing way the hell back here, or at least back here, to avoid myself from getting killed so quickly. Like, you just don't value your life. You just die all the time. Yeah, I'm just waiting for your first trance. Trance advice. That's fine. You do a good job getting out of that. Okay. This is a terrible trance. You see how low your Sigma is? Not at all. He has 75 missing health. That's 80 damage from the rock. Okay, yeah, Sigma's going to put 2 more shots into it. That's another 120 damage. It's 200 damage total. Who cares? He's fine. He's all his cooldown. He just came out of spawn. Right? Your Mercy's coming out. You're fine. Like, this is totally fine. Totally fine here. There's no reason to be trancing, and you're going to watch. Watch. This is not going to do anything. Right? Like, when you use a big ultimate like Trance, your team should win the fight. Okay? Did you win the fight here? No, you're not even close. You literally did nothing. If you had tranced at all, the outcome would have been exactly the same. The Mercy would have come out. You both could have pocketed the Sigma. He would have used his cooldowns. He was totally fine. Right? That was a terrible ultimate. You typically use Trance either 1 to save a bunch of low health heroes, or a single low health hero that's going to change the fight, or 2 to counter enemy ultimates like Genji Blade, Soldier Visor, etc. Right? Okay. I'm just going to wrap it there because I don't think watching the rest of the video. Actually, I'm very curious if you won this game. Oh my god, you actually won. um, yeah. What are my tips? So covered a whole bunch of stuff. I think on Kiriko, you duel people too much. You don't have good awareness around you of your teammates who are low. You don't use Suzu enough to save people, and your aim is not good. Quite bad, I would say. And on Zen, I would say your aim is atrocious, like so bad. um, and you mindlessly walk into the enemy team every single time you respawn, and seem to have no real understanding of how fragile Zen is. Zen is generally considered the easiest to kill character in the game because he has zero mobility, a large hitbox, and no defensive abilities whatsoever. So, like, basically, it's often used as a measuring stick for tracers if they can one clip a Zen, right? Because it's considered quite easy, and that's like considered very straightforward to do as tracer. And if you can't one clip a Zen as tracer, you'll never get out of diamond-ish. Um, so yeah, you are super fragile. You have to play way the heck back accordingly. And then your trans usage was bad. You're luckily won the game because I think your team was probably just better, but something no. Hopefully that was helpful.